Hello, I'm Turkey Ferguson, and this is discussion board post 3 on screening evaluation. My fieldwork placement was at the Valentine Elementary School within the Head Start in pre-K classrooms. There was no OT with me on site, but working with my kiddos, I found myself working within the Kawa model and really kind of diving into what my kiddos' water, the river side of the bottom, the rocks, driftwood, and space between the obstacles are, and really breaking those down by asking the students questions and finding out more about their lives and what they enjoy doing. Children love to talk and tell you about their lives, so even just kind of asking them like what they did this weekend, or were they able to go play outside and why they weren't able to play outside, and kind of just asking questions, and they will fill me in, and that really lays out like their Kawa model of the river flow, of looking into their barriers of I wasn't able to play outside today because it was cold, or my mom didn't want to have to sit outside, or any of the things in between that you really gather just by communication within the kiddos. Like I did mention, there was no OT on staff, but screening and assessment tools that we did use in the classroom and I got to see firsthand that I thought was really cool was the ASQ3 and the ASQ SE2. And the ASQ3 is a questionnaire that is based on the yes, sometimes, and not yet. And for an example question, it was kind of like, when you say 7-3, does your child repeat just the two numbers in order? Do they repeat the number? If necessary, try another pair of numbers and say 8-2. And then it says, your child must repeat the one series of two numbers for you to answer yes to this question. So it's kind of in depth, and then there's other ones, and that is for like the problem solving section. For fine motor, it'll ask like, can your child string a small item on beads, macaroni or pasta onto the string or shoelace? Yes, sometimes, not yet. And then that is like the fine motor. And they kind of total it down each time to really like look at the overall score within the classroom as well as comparing them to their peers. For the ASQ SE2, that questionnaire is based on the Likert scale, and the sections of them are often or always, sometimes, rarely, or never, and then check if this is a concern. And I think that's really cool. I was kind of taken off guard that in a preschool classroom that they do this, but I find it very interesting and very good to be able to right away see if a child might have some developmental delay or lacking the ability to do something because of their environment or because of the situation or anything in between. And the teacher during this time was also asking me to take photos of the kiddos as they write. So during center, some of them color, some of them play. And she's like, I don't care what they're holding, just have them as they're coloring or holding a writing utensil and take a photo. And I was like, okay. And then I just was doing it. And then she was like, if you haven't had everybody, will you have them write on a sheet of paper and just call them over and they'll write their name and trace it and take a photo of them. And I asked her if that was part of her criteria that she had to meet and like show that how they hold a pencil and how they use that grip. And she said no, that she sets that goal at the beginning of the year for each of her students, how to hold the pencil properly to be able to show their growth and development for kindergarten ready. And she says she likes to post pictures to show their improvement and to have that visual proof. And I was like, that is awesome. And an OT standpoint, it was really exciting and nice to see that a teacher being involved in that and having that as her goal and being, held like reliable as well. I wouldn't know that the teachers would have to like submit progress stuff more so on the pre-K and Head Start end of it. I would have just guessed like it was more of like a fun classroom environment, and it was just more of like the daycare play, getting them into a routine. But actually seeing that was amazing and fun to also help break down their abilities and where they lack. For the occupational profile and performance, this was when determining this for some of the kiddos, the profile and performance in a non-interview conversation. So like I said, children are able to spill everything out as you ask them questions. So just asking them about what they do at home, what they enjoy playing with, and asking more questions, feeding off the answers they give you. One preschooler came to my mind when this was happening, and during playtime, she asked if she could play hair salon with me. And this was really fun to see, kind of like, not really, but her biases on the girls' side of it, that only girls can play hair salon, when a little boy wanted to play, I was like, he can play too. And she's like, well, boys don't do hair. So that just having her side of that, seeing that, as well as she would like want to do my hair and play hair salon, she was showing her friends how she does it with her mom. And then I would ask her questions on how she plays with her mom or what she does. And don't get me wrong, I was 100% okay to play hair salon. I love my hair being played with. But just being able to interact with the kiddos and ask them and see that they are doing this with their mom and having this fun interaction to play hair salon and incorporating that into their play at daycare and with other classmates. During this time, like we are at centers time, it is really fun since Mondays are when I am there. It was really enjoyable to ask them like what they did over the weekend, because they would really fill you in on more so their home life and how they spend their time away from school, instead of, well, I go to school and have that identity, but it's what they do at home and how they interact at home. Contexts that support or hinder occupational performances. Reflecting back on that Kawa model, just really looking at those rocks in the water and determining if they're supporting or hindering. And a lot of the things that I kind of noticed is the parent figure, and if it was supporting or hindering, if the parent is a positive influence, or if the parent brings in more of some barriers and some negative sides that put the child back or at fear. So kind of seeing that right off the bat, and how they express their interaction within their parents, or how the teachers have kind of explained situations. I think that is a huge thing of influencing and hindering, as well as just the children interacting and playing. One little kiddo comes to mind that his social interaction was kind of put back, but I believe it's from his social barrier of being from a different country and not really understanding the social like norms and how to interact, and he would rather just kind of sit back and watch than be involved. The ASQ assessment are word for word following to ensure the findings. However, it is based on the teacher's opinion, so making sure that standardized and non-standardized assessment are valid and reliable. It is word for word, so you follow it. However, it could be kind of argued compared to like a parent view versus a teacher view, and how the teacher sees the child, or the teacher sees the client interact in the classroom versus how a parent might see it, their kiddo interact within their family or within their cousins. It could be totally different. As well as modifying evaluation procedures based on the client. Factoring contents, this assessments are broken up into smaller parts. And as children are 4 or 5, or 3, 4, and 5, attention might not always be there to sit down and be able to do a whole assessment. So this assessment was done within 2 weeks, and it's always usually done around their center's time, so when they're playing and interacting. So a lot of this could be done while they're playing and interacting with others, and marking off some of the questions asked there. But if we do have to pull a kiddo aside and kind of ask them direct questions that the question is asking to answer them, it is really easy to just have like a goal of 5 questions, do them right away, and then on to the next student. Kids kind of like that one-on-one time, but it is fast-paced, so they kind of want to go on and get their center's time. So just breaking it down throughout 2 weeks really helps it not seem like an assessment or a testing, but to really get the right, correct answers with how they perform in their natural environment within the classroom. Interpreting evaluation results. So the teacher definitely helped interpret the evaluations of the results, and at each page as a preschool findings, they would add them up and kind of just like elaborate on what she found and why she found this. But as an OT, I was able to interpret it with like the lens and looking at the performance of the occupation in play. And it might be due to the lack of social interaction skills due to communication barrier with that kiddo I was just talking about, while recommending to like the teacher to work on communication within the client and boosting that self-esteem within group reading or interactive play. So asking the client to answer a question and having them comment, or telling a friend this, and having that interactive play, but allowing for that social communication and interaction to increase and develop stronger. For documents and results of the evaluation process, routine-based intervention would be the best to incorporate confidence and social interaction skills, as they all play together during center's time. to boost comfortability and work on communication with classmates to increase occupational performance to play with peers. And just having that play, and within pre-K and Head Start, they are really growing all of this social interaction and how to play with others and the transition and the attention. So much is growing at this time. They could all be at different developmental stages, but they're all learning also from each other. So just looking at that routine-based intervention of how they run their preschool, they have centers time, they have reading time, they have break, they wash their hands at the same time, and that complete strong routine-based intervention allows for them to keep that, but then also develop everything along the way. That is all for this post, and I hope you enjoy listening.